you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is the 49 days of CBC, and today is going to be the last day of week 3. And usually we have our award ceremony that morning. And Janet and I worked week 3 for I don't know how many years, but I should introduce you, Janet Watts. You probably don't need an introduction, but it's always been a joy working with you at Carolina Bible Camp. I know how much you love the place. We've sweated, we cried, we've done all those things together, and it's just it's always a joy to be a part of camp with you. And now I have you working with me week 7, so that's even a bigger honor. So thank you for coming along with us. So the first question I want to talk to you about today is, here we are, it's the end of week 3, and there's no camp. Let me know what you think.
I will start by saying I agree with the board. It was the smart thing to do. I want to preface it very much from the logical standpoint.
Right.
It was the right thing to do, and the campers always have to be our safety. We have to take care of them. That's what we do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
From an emotional perspective, the day the announcement came out and it was final, although you and I had talked, when I read it, I cried.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not just a camp.
Mm-mm.
It's a way of life. It's a heart. Knowing what would not be available to the campers, knowing how much so many of those campers need this time, it broke my heart.
Oh, yeah.
But it also broke my heart because I know how much I need it.
Yeah.
I think that camp is not just about the campers. I think it's one of those things that when the staff walks away, it's hard to say who got more out of it.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it's the only thing, and when I was talking to Melissa and I had porch time together yesterday,
Yeah.
I said the only time I can liken it to was when I was hurt. I had my injury and could not go to camp and had to sit out a little while. I cried that Sunday that everybody left for camp because I wanted so desperately to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I know that's a little selfish, but it is the refueling. It is where you empty yourself to the emptiest you'll ever be and walk away the fullest you'll ever feel.
That is so true. You know, when you think about all the years that you've worked at camp, and what year was it that you first went to Carolina Bible Camp?
1969.
All right, the year I was born.
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
And where was that at?
Camp Haynes.
Camp Haynes, all right.
Camp Haynes was where I started. It was a beautiful camp. And I know you've heard Jeff and Dennis and I reminiscing in your home about it and on our get-togethers about it. It was a gorgeous camp. It held a lot of feelings for us. Mm-hmm. But we're so grateful that we now have Carolina Bible Camp that is Carolina Bible Camp property.
Yeah.
That we don't have to limit ourselves. I don't know if you're aware, but we only had 2 weeks of camp.
Yeah.
And to be able to open that to so many more people now, mm-hmm. Not just campers, but more staff to be able to be involved.
Yeah.
The good thing was it was always cool because we had to go after summer camp closed. So we went early August.
All right.
And we were on the base of a mountain. So it was always cool. We didn't have that heat problem.
Yeah.
But it was very special. Very special.
Nice. Well, when you think about all the locations, I know where it's at now is one of your favorite locations, but out of those other camps, which one was your favorite? Was it Haynes or was it one of the other ones?
It was Haynes. The only negative about Haynes was the fact that you didn't have, you had bathhouses, I'll put it nicely. Uh-huh. So you had to walk to the bathhouse. You did not have a bathroom in the middle of the night. You did not shower alone. There was a big stall.
How you doing?
Yeah, it was keep your eyes forward at all times.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Well, so when you sit here and you think about all the years and everything at camp, is there a special memory that sticks out to you through all the years, whether you were a camper or whether you're staff? Is there something that stands out to you?
There's so many. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Some I would love to share, but won't because of the campers that were involved in it being their heart moments. And I know you can relate to that. Those heart moments when they literally either come from an environment where they just explode out what they've lived through and you watch them learn to trust and love, or it's that turning of their heart away from things they've done and they see the truth of God's word and they want to live that way and they give themselves to God. You know, and you and I are so connected that I just feel like you already know everything in my head. But there's so many.
It's scary in there.
I know. Nobody wants to go there. There's so many things that go on that you go from the absolute hilarious moments to the absolute heart on the floor, laid wide open moments that are there. I think what's interesting for me is it doesn't matter if it was campaigns or where we are now in Moxville, amphitheater's always been special.
Yes.
I know that I can at this moment picture sitting in campaigns. The amphitheater there was sunken and it was grass with stones, and you look straight up into the trees and into the stars like we do at Moxville, and I can in my ear right now hear Jeff Sykes singing the Lord Will Find a Way for Me.
All right.
And it just ringing through that night, and just it's something about that darkness and that quiet spirit time that gets to you. And just having those beautiful moments like that, to the hysterical pranks, the things that have been pulled. I know one of my strongest memories, and God bless you, is yours too.
Oh yeah.
Amphitheater with Dewan.
Oh yeah.
When so many didn't know at first what was happening, and we had the medical emergency, and how clearly in my mind I see you scooping him up and running with this grown person in your arms. But that is emotional, but the depth of those of us who were trying to maintain the campers, and what do we do? How do we get through this moment where so much we're hearing is going on, and we know that in that moment we were being told we were losing him, and we just sang as loud as we could possibly sing, and held hands and arms and prayed and sang, and the sound of that heart that was coming up and out of everyone as we were trying our hardest to send that prayer to God. And as we're hearing ambulance and sirens, and I remember so clearly the hitting of the hand on the ambulance door saying, "Go, go, go." And yet our song was getting louder and louder and louder, because it's the only way we knew how to pour out our love and our prayer. And I know that's more of a tragic kind of amphitheater moment, but it's one of the strongest ones in my heart and my mind. And I know everybody who was there that day has never forgotten it.
Oh yeah.
Because we all just stayed together, and we stayed together and stayed together. And for those who don't know, it was great that the next morning we were on Skype with him and we know he's okay.
And then he came back to camp that night.
And we all said, "You should not be here." But that's the heart. We're family, and we love and we care and we hold on tight. And that was the only way we could hold on to him, was to sing as loud as we could possibly sing with the depths of our souls. And then we have ridiculous, shave cream
Yeah.
and water balloons and hiding stuff from each other and you name it.
Well, we've experienced so many times with new campers showing up to camp, and that scared feeling that they have, and they're very timid. I know Cassie had a hard time going week 3, so I know you've experienced that with kids. How have you helped them through that?
Well, that's my kid.
Oh yeah.
That's the kid I go after. That's the kid that I see, because I'm afraid, and I don't mean that in a boastful way. I look for those kids because I think that's the kid that
needs it
feels
most.
invisible.
Yeah.
And doesn't know where they belong and how to fit in, and they don't have the personality to jump in and be a part. And I know back when we first formed the CBC Buddies on week 3, that was the whole goal of that. That was the only concept and idea behind it. It wasn't a loftiness or an elitist. It was, go find that kid that can't find their way in, who doesn't know how to walk up to a ball field, who doesn't know how to sit in a craft cabin because they aren't an athlete and they don't really know how to be with people, or who's never had someone put their arm around them and tell them they love them, who's never had anybody nurture them, who walks into the dining hall before all the seat assignments and doesn't know where to go sit. And that was the whole concept around forming that group, was be that person who bridges that gap for them.
Yeah, definitely.
And for me, there's so many kids that I believe are so lost in themselves. They may not even have a bad home life.
Yeah.
They just are, as you said with Cassie, introverted. Cassie's worked out to be great for me. I already knew her, but she became my right hand in the craft cabin because she needed to belong somewhere and have something to do.
Yeah.
And and now she's a craft director.
Yeah.
How great is that? And she can see to do that for somebody else. Some of them are troubled and some of them are not. I know for me, camp changed my whole life.
Oh yeah.
I know this is hard for anybody who knows me that's listening. Massive introvert, totally shut down, didn't have a youth group, no connections. In school, didn't have those relationships because I was so incredibly shy. And as I grew into a teenager, didn't want to be a part of any of that. Camp was the only place I belonged. It was the only place I felt normal and able to engage and be a part of things and be around people who wanted to live right and who wanted to help you help others.
Yes.
And for me, Mr. Eaton invited me to help him in the canteen.
All right. Well, you think about all these people the ones that I've met, my 30 years of being part of it. I really wasn't excited about camp until, early 2000s. But the special relationships that are created from being there at camp are amazing. You create that relationship with the staff members and everything, and also you create this relationship with these kids and also with their parents, because you or I, our responsibility, when we see a family coming in on campus, it's not just focused on the kid right then. We're reassuring that adult that, hey, we're going to take good care of your kids. And something I always tell them, and you think the same thing, these are my babies for a week, and I'm going to love them, care for them just as if they were my child. And I want you to know that. And, to reassure parents with that's, it's a great honor for us to be put in charge of those kids, right?
That's a lot of trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of trust.
It is. So this last question is going to be a tough one for you. When you look back over the years, is there one staff member or camper or something that kind of left a lasting impression on you? I've heard so many names going through these interviews, and there's a lot of consistent names, and I'm sure you're probably going to say one of them. But who might that be that you think back on?
It's such a roll call.
Yeah, it is. It is.
For me, if I started all the way back, the reason that I was at camp in 1969 was Sam Norman.
Oh, yeah.
Because of his involvement with Carolina Bible Camp, and because his best friend was H.R. Butler.
Yep.
So H.R. just his vision, his heart, his desire to never let Carolina Bible Camp die once he got it up and going.
Yeah.
To the legacy there is amazing. I want to come back to that in just a moment. There's, I think of the one I know you're expecting me to say, and of course that's Wilson. Wilson was there my first day, and I was there his last. And what an honor.
Yeah.
When he asked me to be on his leadership staff, and what an amazing journey of trust. And as I'm sure most know that are listening, as his mind began to go, and he didn't want anything to happen to camp, the more he placed on me, you, Kirk, a few others that he asked to step up into some of the things he'd always done. It was such an honor, but such a baton to carry, to try to keep what he would have wanted going at the level he wanted it to be, so he could just be there and be amongst the campers, but he didn't want them to suffer from what was lagging in him. Can't go without saying Lil, because Lil, my camper years, was his dedicated co-counselor, head counselors, and all that they brought. From a camper perspective, at that time, the campers that I looked up to so much, God help me, were Dennis and Jeff, because, and look at them now. No, I'm just kidding. They know it. They know I love them. Because I saw so much in them, how they, as young teenagers, were leading people to Christ. And they had such an impact on me and my heart as a teenager. As an adult, of course, still working with Wilson, but there's, again, it's who you work with. I don't mean this against any other weeks, because I've worked in week 6. I've helped in week 1 a little bit. I did week 3 for years. Such an honor to be in week 7 now. There's a group you work with that you become so tight with, that I admire at a level that I don't know I have words for. And right up there in the top is David Price.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because of what he has brought at the way he brings it and the way he affects people. Rob Morey, not only for how he gets in heart, soul, body, but he's up for any idea that we come up with. He'll try it, and he'll invest, and he'll go all in with you. You know, for a lot of years, my buddy was Denise. We were co-workers together, and I guess one of the best ways to sum up what it's like to be a staff member for Carolina Bible Camp was a quick, if you got a minute. I remember, I tell her all the time that one of my best moments with her was, you don't get a whole lot of sleep. We especially didn't in week 3. We never slept in week 3. And I remember trying to wake her up the next morning, and she sits up, eyes closed, kind of drooped on the bed. She never even opens her eyes, and she just says to me, "You shouldn't have to get up before your toothbrush dries from the night before."
That's so true.
And that was just, I began to laugh hysterically. Of course, you're overtired anyway.
Uh-huh.
But I thought that just totally sums up accountants camp directors. We were in the staff camp director's life, is you just, it never dries because you never get to sleep that long. Kirk, his Kirk.
Yeah.
How do you describe all that he is and gives and pours out, and the most gentle giant, Tim, of his heart and love, and you know you're it for me, man. You know that I am the most proud of you, to see what you've done and where you've gone and how you've taken. And when you work to help me have the ability to come back to camp and to make concessions for my needs, to be able to be there. And I know I said to you, I don't want it to be about anybody taking care of me. If it's that, I don't want to be there because I need that not to be what it's about. And we found ways to work together. I've experienced a lot of years at camp, and I don't know anybody who has brought HR like you bring HR. You aren't going to let anything happen to stop this. And your love and your devotion to the campers, to God, to the desire to keep this soul-winning world going that we call Carolina Bible Camp. It's a special place, and if someone's listening who's never been there, they have no idea what they're missing.
I know. That's breaks your heart when you think about the kids that don't get to go there this year.
No, I know. And, one of the things that we've been saying as a country and as a world is we're in this together. That is camp. Mm-hmm. We're in this together. It's always been we're in this together. It's campers helping campers. It's Christians helping Christians. It's nothing except people desiring. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes. We lose our temper. We lose sleep. We get exhausted. We get giddy. But it's all from the heart of we're just in this together, and we all want to end up together.
Amen. We
want to be in heaven together, and we go there and we just lay it all down, and it's all about being there and just being stronger. The balance of helping each other. My last name, I could just go on, and I'm sorry, I could, is of course your beautiful wife.
Oh yeah.
Known her entire life. Got here a little before her, a few years before her. The balance she brings of leadership in Christianity and in balance of women leaders. There's a time for rules and restrictions and influencing, and then there's time to play with them as well and to set things down. And I think that was one of the things that I love so much, is that your heart is, let's do this all day. Let's be about the campers. Let's focus on them. Let's focus on the time and what we can bring to them and teach them and be with them. And for me, the craft cabin was just my venue. That was just my landing spot. To be able to have a place for people to come and gather and chat and talk and hang out and try to influence conversations and hug and love. And it didn't matter if you came to craft or not. That was just the local coffee shop.
Yeah.
But then you bring us to business at night
Mhm.
after the campers are gone to bed. And I find it so amazing that that's when we talk it out as a whole. Who needs what? Who can we help? What can we share? Who needs our attention? Now, what can we do better? Those are amazing questions, and those are amazing prayers that we do at night instead of doing business all day long.
Mhm.
We're about the Father's business all day long.
Yeah. Well, Rob Morey, you can't say enough about him. And he's the one that brought that to our week. And that is true, that to be able to settle down and just think about the day is amazing. So when I know it's been, I've enjoyed sitting here talking with you because, you're my sister, you're my friend. When you think of Carolina Bible Camp, and I'm going to put this question on you just like I did a couple of others, and I think you heard Caleb's one-word response, but what would be the one word that describes Carolina Bible Camp to you? Speechless.
You took my word. No. Breathe. Breathe from the aspect of that's where I felt like I began to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
where I found my footing, where I was baptized was Camp Haynes Lake, where I began to feel what it felt like to be a Christian. And I think you know what I'm trying to say there. But also, even today, when you get to those gates, just breathe.
Yeah.
You breathe out the world and you breathe in this amazingness that you know is about to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're visiting somebody else's week, you're going to Bluegrass Festival, you're going to fundraiser, or like some of us who shall remain nameless, that just stop by every now and then because we just need to look at the place.
Sit on the front porch.
I think you just exhale,
Mm-hmm.
breathe in what it should be like all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's been wonderful to sit here for a few minutes to go down memory lane with you and to talk about a place that we both love so dearly. This 49 days of CBC, it's been overwhelming for me just seeing the response and everything from everybody. And it's because of the love of Carolina Bible Camp. That's why we see such a great response. And I just want to stop and just say thank you for so many years of putting camp first when you didn't feel like it. It was hard to be there just physically, but you made the choice to be there because you knew that whether or not it was better for you to be home, it was better for you to be there because of somebody was going to need just maybe 2 minutes of your time. And thank you for sharing your heart and your love for CBC.
And I do. I sincerely do love the camp, and I feel like that it has a value beyond anything all of us trying to describe will ever be able to do. And I appreciate all you've done for the 49 days of CBC. Worn a shirt every single day. I haven't missed one yet.
That was a challenge by the Grigsbys, I believe.
Problem is, some of them I'm just going to have to take pictures of. Are they shrunk?
I think so. That's what it is.
These first few years, there was something wrong with the shirts because they don't fit anymore.
That's it.
Okay, your daughter is trying to call me.
All right.
But I appreciate you and helping us fill some of this void that we're all feeling by having these opportunities to share together.
Well, thank you for this time. Let's try to keep pushing this 49 days of CBC. I know you've been doing a great job helping me out with that, but we've got a lot of work to do. And so I love you, my friend, and I'll see you soon, okay?
Probably tomorrow. No.
Yeah. Take care of yourself, Miss Jan.
Bye.